MGB is now powered by Juiced. More on them at the end of the video. Hello everyone and welcome back to Quick Look. It has been a while, hasn't it? Well, I mean, it's been a week, but what do you expect? But yes, it's another exciting episode of the show where I talk about games, mostly new stuff, but this time I'm going to look at something a little bit older. And by a little bit older, I mean 2 years or so ago. Well, 2 years. So, yeah, and with this game that we're going to talk about today, I've got a lot I want to talk about with this game because this is probably one of the most important episodes I'm going to do, because this is a game that gave me such a huge emotional response that, honestly, there's no justice about it. That this game is brilliant. We're talking Sackboy: A Big Adventure. That this is what we're talking about here. And oh my god, this game. So, backstory. 2020. The world's fucked up. Like, legit. There wasn't anything fun about 2020. It was a hellscape. With this whole pandemic shit and that kind of thing. I was still recovering from my eyesight issues and shit like that. And just, it was a pain in the ass, and it wasn't really that fun. Honestly, I just didn't know for sure if I was gonna truly be okay. That kind of thing. But then at the end of the year, well, the middle point when the PS5 game announcements came, something that brought me so much joy when I was younger as a kid, well, came back, and I was so fucking happy about it. I wish I kept the reaction footage, but I was so fucking happy. You wouldn't believe. That IP being, of course, Little Big Planet. I fucking loved Little Big Planet as a kid. Like, it was one of my favorite games of all time. LBP2 on PS3. That game was brilliant. And to me, when I think of PlayStation, I don't really think of God of War. I don't think of Last of Us. Honestly, I couldn't give less of a fuck about The Last of Us. If you tried making me give a fuck about The Last of Us, then I'd probably laugh you out of the building or something like that. I probably wouldn't, but I wouldn't be happy. But honestly, when I think of PlayStation, I think of Little Big Planet. I think of the memories I had with that game and just all the joy. Just all the creation and stuff. I wasn't really good at creating stuff, but I just loved exploring people's maps. I remember, like, there was this recreation of the Universal Studios parks in the game. And I loved it. I was so impressed by the recreations. And just everything about this game, everything about the Little Big Planet series brought me so much joy as a kid. It really did. So you can imagine my excitement when, for the PS5's launch lineup, we got a new Little Big Planet. Sony decided to bring the IP back, and I couldn't be more happier. I legit couldn't be more happier. Like, to see something of my childhood returning in such a big stage. Oh my god, I was so excited. And just everything about it. The road to the game's release was so special. Sure, Australia didn't get the collector's edition, which is a huge fucking shame. I would have pre-ordered that collector's edition with the Sackboy plush. I would have. but I didn't, and I just got the regular edition. This is the PS4 version, and, well, actually, this is the first time I played the PS5 version. This quick look episode, the recording footage, is actually the PS5 version. I never played the PS5 version because, well, I didn't have a PS5 at the time, and there was no chance in hell I was going to get one then. But for me, that really didn't matter about what platform I was playing it on. What mattered to me was the game itself, and it is absolutely one of my favorite games of all time. Like, if you asked me what one of my favorite games of all time, I probably would mention to you Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I would. Because this is what I think Sony does best. Brilliant gameplay. Like, look, here's the thing. Sony, during the PS4 generation, I fucking hated PlayStation in the PS4 generation. Because they really didn't value gameplay. To me, I value gameplay more than story when it comes to a game. More than graphics when it comes to a game. More than frame rate even at times. If the gameplay is fun, that's all that fucking matters to me. Like, it's why this year, I might even consider having Goat Simulator 3 up there in the top of my rankings. Because the gameplay in that is fucking brilliant. Sometimes you just don't need to be going all serious and story. Like, 2020 was a mixed year for PlayStation, I'll tell you that much, because you had the fucking lows of The Last of Us, or as I call it, the mid of us, with its, well, complete focus on story, and not giving an actual fuck about the gameplay. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I have no fucking reason to play The Last of Us. I have none. I'm just gonna watch the TV show, because honest to God, for what I've seen, it looks terrible! It looks fucking horrendous, and I wouldn't even enjoy it. In terms of gameplay, it's fucking boring as hell. And there's no chance now you're gonna catch me playing that. Unless I get to maybe 1,000 followers on Twitch. But we all know that's never going to happen. Still though, from that low, to me, that represents the death of the PS4 generation. That just represents the PS4 generation just dying completely. And from the ashes, rising like a phoenix, the PS5. Because, good God, can I just admit that the PS5 launch lineup is like the best fucking launch lineup ever that Sony has done? Every game in that launch lineup is a banger. Miles Morales, banger. Demon's Souls, banger. Astro's Playroom, banger. And Sackboy. Oh, my beloved little Sackboy. Okay, where do I start with this game? Where the fuck do I start? The graphics are perfect. Like, I know graphics aren't important, obviously, but what the team did at Sumo Sheffield, they completely nailed the look of the previous Little Big Planet games, but make it 3D. Like that's it. They just basically took what they learned on Little Big Planet 3, and even Little Big Planet karting to an extent, and just completely cranked it up to 11. Like, I fucking loved what they did with Little Big Planet. Like, I think Little Big Planet as a franchise has a lot of potential from its graphic style, because it's arts and crafts. It's much more fun and creative, and that's what this game's going for. Even if there's no creation suite in a general sense. I mean, there is a character creation suite, but not really a level creation suite, music creation suite, that kind of thing. But still, I think what this game does for creativity is that they know what they want to do, and they go all for it. They come up with so many creative ideas in the levels that it's just, oh god, it's just so much fun. And by far, I'd say it's probably one of the better looking games on the PS5 so far at launch. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been some great looking games on there. I mean, Rift Apart looks incredible. Miles Morales really does push the power forward of the system. Demon Souls, well, Demon Souls is Demon Souls. It's dark and gritty, and that's what it's about. And yes, while I personally may not be fully interested, I think God of War does look brilliant on there. I think Ragnarok does look brilliant. But I have to say, Sackboy is just one of the most gorgeous games out there on PS5 currently, and you can't deny it. It is gorgeous. Hell, even on the PS4, it looks incredible. It looks next gen when it's on a last gen machine, which is kind of crazy to think about, but well, here we are. Sony just was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just make this the best thing possible. Story, as ever, isn't really much of a priority for me, as ever, but I think Sony took a good balance with the story and the gameplay here, because the story is just as good as the gameplay. Like, look, it's a bit kiddie, I will say that. It is very much a more... How would I describe it? I'd say the plot feels very much like a Saturday morning cartoon at points, but it works in its favor. I mean, this game's rated G. I mean, there is going to be that younger audience in there. And it works really well. There's a lot of great talent involved with the voice acting. And just everything about this game's story just works. The villain, Vex, is a badass. Like, good god. Vex is one of those villains you probably just can't get enough of. Like, legit, I'd be down to see him again. Maybe even Negativitron again. God damn, now a reminder of how good Little Big Planet 2 was with its villain. Oh man, then, obviously Scarlet, who is your mentor, nailed it. Nailed it completely. Like, bloody hell, I gotta say, Scarlet is one of those characters that you can get into immediately and you're like, okay, your mentor, got it. Seriously, this game is just... Oh, the story is just so brilliant. And then we get to the most important part for me when it comes to a game. The gameplay. I've seen a lot of people compare Sackboy to Super Mario 3D World. And to those people who keep fucking comparing it, Sackboy is a better game. Like, I'm serious. I cannot get into 3D World. I think it's fucking mid. Like, I think it is the worst Mario game. And that may be controversial, especially considering the fact that there are worse Mario games out there. Like, Mario Teaches Typing. Super Mario Bros. When I Grow Up for fucking PC. Mario's Fundamentals for PC. Fucking Mario is missing. Hell, even Hotel Mario. Those games are bad. But I think 3D World is worse. But Sackboy is the best example of this fucking multiplayer platformer genre. Like, I'm serious. The gameplay is perfection. It is legit perfection. What Sumo and PlayStation did is they kept the gameplay as true to Little Big Planet as possible, while still being new. Like, they bring in a lot of new elements in this that work perfectly, and it's a fully 3D platformer. Like, sure, we have had a fully 3D style thing for Little Big Planet before, with Little Big Planet 3. I mean, people were creating a lot of 3D stuff in that. And keep in mind, we also had Little Big Planet karting as well that could do that. But by God, Sackboy just completely nails it. Sackboy is like the best example of it, and I think a lot of people will probably agree with me on that fact. Sackboy is a brilliant game, and there is so much I can say about this game. Like, I completed it on stream. Pretty much, like, 2 years ago. 2 years ago at this point. Well, I didn't really complete it immediately. I did it week to week to week. So it was more like almost 2 years ago or something like that. But I did beat Sackboy on stream. And it is probably one of my favorite games of all time. In fact, I'm going to be honest. In 2020, it was my game of the year. Nothing could really compare to Sackboy for me. And such a year where it was a complete shithole, Sackboy brought so much joy to me that it really is worth a play. And look, if you love a good 3D platformer, this is it. If you like a good game, this is it. This is brilliant. Sackboy is one of the best games Sony has ever made. Like, I'm gonna be transparent. Sackboy is legit one of the best games Sony has ever made. Like, there's gonna be a lot of people who will be defending Sony's games during the PS4 era for what I said. That I think the PS4 era for PlayStation was shit, but Sackboy is the best PS4 game. It's the best PS4 game, and it's one of the last PS4 games. So, pretty much, you can write off the PS4 generation, in my opinion, because Sackboy is fucking brilliant. Honestly, I did not like the PS4, but I think Sony is finally listening to our complaints from the PS4 generation. Especially with the whole not enough variety thing. I mean, we've had 3 different 3D platformers release on the PS5. One of them a run-and-gun style 3D platformer. One of them is your typical 3D platformer. And then you have Sackboy, one of the most creative games out there. And God, there's so much praise I'm giving to the PS5 here. But I'm serious. Go play Sackboy. Go play it. Like, actually go play it. It is one of the most brilliant games ever made. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for some of the things I'm saying in this video, but this is the most brilliant game that Sony has done in so long. And honestly, if Sony can keep this up, the PS5 generation might be one of their best. Which is a big thing to say, but to me, the PS3 generation was Sony's last great generation. PS4 was the downhill spiral for me. PS5, I think, is a generation that is recovering Sony from the lows. Like, to me, PS5, from PS4 to PS5, is basically what Nintendo had from Wii U to Switch. An awful platform that just was not enjoyable, that might have had some great games, but was marred with fucking bullshit. Leading to a platform that is fucking amazing. That's what I think this whole generation switch is, and I feel so fucking happy about it. So yeah, Sackboy is one of the most brilliant games of all time, and you guys need to play it. You guys really need to play it. Oh, man. Well, before we go, I gotta pay the bills a little bit, so sponsor spot time! As ever, MGB is now powered by Juiced Energy. That's right, if you don't know who Juiced Energy are, they are a brilliant company that produces some of the best energy drinks out there. They are sugar-free, they are low in the bad stuff, and they are fucking brilliant. Some of the best drinks out there. And in fact, they just recently came out with a brand new edition, Juiced Hydration. Oh yeah, Juiced Hydration. This stuff I've been trying over the last little while, and it is fucking great. Like, It is some of the best energy drink stuff out there, and if you like your energy drinks, this is the best one you can get. Legit juice is available in multiple brilliant flavors, and it is fantastic. And the new hydration, good God, Slash Berry is brilliant. It actually tastes like those gummy frog candies. Like, if you know those red frog gummies that you find in the supermarkets, this legit tastes like you're eating one of those. Like, it has that gummy taste to it, and I love that. It is brilliant. So yes, if you want to support this page and support everything that I do, please click the link down below to support Juice and use the code MGB to save 10% on your order. That's once again MGB as the code to save 10% on your order on Juiced Energy. Oh my god, this was a long one, wasn't it? But I hope you guys really did enjoy this incredible edition of Quick Look, guys. I had so much fun making it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Next week, I'm not exactly sure what's going to be featured next week, but you'll know when we know, pretty much. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and as I always like to say, I will see you all next time. Take it easy, everyone, and I will see you all next Sunday. Johnny!